New toys in the third season of Battlefield 6. We've gotten 3 new weapons so far, and we're taking a really close look at them in this video. 2 of them, the M16A4 and the RPK-74M, I already have at level 50, so I know what I'm talking about here. And with the sniper rifle, I think I have it at 32 or something. I've played it a lot too, but sniper rifles, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. It's a bit of a thing. First of all, one of the new top dogs in the game is the M16A4. The first primary burst fire weapon in the game. Really strong, and it was genuinely fun to level up, I have to say. I'm not a fan of burst weapons at all. Normally, in older Battlefield titles, I didn't play them as much, to be honest. I'm really not particularly good with these weapons, but this weapon was somehow really fun. That's probably also because the delays between the bursts aren't that long. So if you get the timing down a bit, it's almost like a fully automatic weapon to me. Of course, you have to click more often, there's no question about that. You can't just hold the trigger or spam it like a full auto one. But let's be totally honest, nobody really does that in Battlefield 6 anyway, at least not if they have somewhat understood the weapon mechanics. In close range, that's a different story, but the weapon is meant more for mid-range, I'd say. So, I have to say, for my part, I didn't play it particularly differently than how I play other weapons, especially because we're playing Railway to Goal mode all the time right now. There, the engagement distances are mostly more mid-rangey. Sure, there are close quarter engagements too, but for the most part, the whole thing is over 15 meters, I'd say. A burst weapon that I actually really liked. Who would have thought? By the way, I'll show you the loadouts for all the weapons, one after the other later, what I've put together there. You can, and this is a bit special, also convert the M16A4 to full auto. There's actually an attachment that costs 25 points, and then it's a fully automatic weapon. However, I have to say I worked towards that because, like I said, at the beginning I thought I don't like burst weapons. Right? So I warmed up with it a bit, converted it immediately to full auto as soon as I could, but I have to say I actually converted it back at some point and played on burst mode again. I just liked it much better, and opinions will definitely be divided on that one. So write it in the comments how you played, whether in burst or in full auto. Because the problem is for 25 points you get a whole lot other stuff, and like I said, since you work a lot with bursts in general in Battlefield 6 anyway. Yeah. Conclusion, very strong weapon, was really a lot of fun. One of the strongest right now if you can handle this whole burst thing, I'd say. Then we come to the new LMG, the RPK-74M. It actually surprised me a lot, but honestly, it is really not a good weapon. It's one of those weapons that does not do a lot of damage, but is more accurate in return. I'd compare it and put it in the same category as the KTS. That one is like that too. It shoots exactly where you aim more or less, but the time to kill is just a bit longer because it doesn't do as much damage. And the RPK is exactly the same. Oh well, the new RPK of course, I should say. In a direct gunfight, when you're facing each other at not too long distances, you will lose almost everything with this weapon. You just have to say it like that, at least if the other guy hits his shots. Or as a console player. But the longer I played it, because of course I wanted to get it to 50 as well, unlock a few attachments first and so on, the more fun it was for me to play it. There's something about the gun mechanics of this weapon, how the recoil works, how it shoots and so on. I just had a lot of fun playing with this weapon. I think this is a very positive example of gunplay in Battlefield 6. I think if the time to kill were like that on average, the way it is here, we'd be on a very good path in Battlefield 6. Because that's how it should be for me. You have to be able to track a bit, it takes a little bit longer, you can still react when you get shot at. I think that's super good. So, this weapon was a lot of fun, don't just ignore it. Definitely level it up a bit so it gets a few attachments. As I said, we'll get to the loadouts I'd play within a moment. I really enjoyed this thing, even if it's not the best weapon, but you don't always have to play like meta weapons, the SCW or DRS in that category and so on. So yeah, there aren't so many weapons for nothing. It's okay to play something else for a change. You have to play a bit more defensively with this weapon, maybe flank a bit more, hard scope, quite a lot corners. So I have to play a bit differently with this weapon, but that's also somehow quite exciting, doing something different in the game for once. Let's move on to the new sniper rifle, the L115. Yeah, with sniper rifles, you don't need to discuss much or do a massive review. What surprises me a bit in Battlefield 6 is that the sniper rifles meant for the longest distances have the lowest or slower bullet velocity. That somehow doesn't make sense to me, but there must be some reason behind it. No idea what. But it's the same here. The maximum bullet velocity is 878. That's even slower than the PSR, which I'd say has been the most long-range oriented sniper of all of them until now. And it's no different here. It's a sweet spot range of 120 to 170 meters. That's like 50 meters, of course. And that is also the largest and furthest sweet spot range in the game, even longer than the PSR, where I think it ends at 150. Here we have 170, starting from 120. I'm not a big fan of this sweet spot range mechanic as a whole, but it has to be mentioned. For people who stay far back, this might be something. I still play the 2010, but with sniper rifles, it's like that anyway. You get used to the one you play, and then the one you've gotten used to, how far you have to lead, your shots and so on, is usually the best anyway, sweet spot range or not. So let's take a look at a few builds. Let's start again with the M16A4. I've prepared two, one without and one with full auto attachment. So first this one. Best suppressor for a bit of hip fire for close combat. The 20-inch barrel, the full angled grip because it gives you the most precision and control, the 20-round fast mag for quick reloads, standard ammunition, the aftermarket buffer, which just tames the visual recoil a bit. Very good attachment for 5 points. I would almost always take it. Now we come to a bit of a quirk with this weapon with the sights. If you look at the front sight post here, this thing here, no matter what close range sight you slap on it, it's always there. If you look at that on the firing range, it's actually a bit annoying. It's not totally crap, but just a bit annoying. But if you put this one on now, the OSA 1.0, the thing is suddenly gone. Don't know if that's supposed to be like that or if it's a bug. In any case, that's why I'm playing this sight from now on. In the clips you've seen so far, I probably always played this one because I really like it right now. But just a little tip, in case that bothers you, use this one. So that would be the build without full auto. But now I have another one with this full auto attachment. Standard suppressor. We have to save a bit of points or cash or whatever you want to call it. Standard barrel. Then the adjustable angled grip because it only costs 15. Still the fast mag. Still lightweight ammo because it's a close range build in that sense. Yeah, full auto attachment logically. And this sight again too. And now you can hold down the trigger with this gun if you want. Yeah, but it's a bit stubborn, I have to say. Especially the horizontal recoil is a bit nasty on this weapon, I have to say. So it's really only good for close range engagements. And this raises a question for me. If you want to play it like this, which I don't, I converted it back at some point, does it actually make more sense if you look at the stats of this weapon here that I've selected now and then go to the M4? It's better in every way almost, so especially regarding close range. Better in every way. Sure, you can build it differently. This is just some build right now. But still the question arises whether you shouldn't maybe just play that weapon instead of a fully automatic M16. I would advise it, to be completely honest, if you want to play it like that. But otherwise, in burst, the M16A4 is fun. LMG, the RPK 74M is up next. It was super fun for me even though it's not the strongest weapon. Here's the build, standard suppressor, then the 521mm barrel. You can also take this one, but that steals a bit of mobility and I want it to be a little bit more mobile. So not really play 100% LMG style because I rarely do that anyway. So I'm a bit more mobile there. The slim angled, the fast 30 round mag, the lightweight ammo, so you're a bit faster when you're in ADS. The buffer again, and a 3x scope. But here it's of course your choice again. I had a lot of fun with this scope on this weapon. I don't know why, but it was like that. Then the violet laser because it makes the weapon a bit more accurate. Always a good idea really. And with this thing, I have to say, even though, as I said, it's not necessarily the best weapon in the game, far from it to be honest, it has something about it that made it really fun to play. It has exactly the right recoil somehow with a 3x scope, and I don't know, to me the weapon mechanics just made it fun to play. Definitely try it out. It's somehow okay in every range, but nowhere really good. So no idea. It was just fun for me. Last but not least, we have the sniper rifle. Yeah, that's a quick story. I build them almost always the same way. Standard suppressor, long barrel for the highest possible muzzle velocity, full angled grip for a slightly better ADS time, standard mag here, simply because the build won't allow for anything else, or rather the points, long range ammo for less bullet drop. I always play the ADS bolt. I think it's super strong for follow-up shots if you don't hit the head straight away. It's a bit of preference. You can of course spend the points anywhere. 30 is quite a lot. Here I have to say I always play a 8x scope, but again, your choice, your preference. I don't actually play the NFX. I actually play the LER 8x. I find it somewhat nicer in terms of visibility, but I haven't unlocked it yet on that weapon because it comes relatively late for whatever reason. And here you can see now why I quite like the ADS bolt. If you don't necessarily hit someone right away, you can shoot much faster and better than if you first have to scope out, zoom back in, look for the target again, etc. So I think it's so much better that it's worth 30 points for me, but everyone has to decide that a bit for themselves. As a little conclusion of the whole thing, of the new weapons we have now in Battlefield 6 since Season 3. The M16A4 is a lot of fun for me. The RPK was also a lot of fun for me. With the sniper rifle, as I said, it depends a bit on preference, how you play. It wasn't exactly my favorite. I'll stick with the 2010. The RPK was a lot of fun for me. Just play it even though it's not the best weapon, and you lose a lot of engagements in direct fights though. You have to play a bit more defensively with this one, but especially at the engagement distances on Railway to Goal mode, I liked it very much. The M16A1 is a monster in burst mode. I wouldn't have thought that because I'm really not a burst guy, but I think it's one of the best weapons currently in the game, especially at this close to mid-range. If you don't want to miss further videos, definitely subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 1,000. And that means monetization, so please subscribe to the channel. Maybe you want to keep watching. Here's another video, of course, about Battlefield 6. It might interest you too. I hope so, at least. And yeah, stay tuned. Write in the comments what you think of the new weapons and the season, and then I'll gladly see you in my next video. Bye!